Before we look at some really good players that have turned coaches, did you ever think about becoming a coach when you retired, Shaka?
No, not really.
You'd rather work here?
Yeah, when I was offered the opportunity to stand next to you on a daily basis, who could turn that down?
Wow. Never something that crossed your mind, ever?
Well, it did. I think it does for every single player. Towards the back end of my Portsmouth time, there was some suggestion that I may be offered the job as a player, goalkeeper, coach, which would have given me one foot in the door. So who knows what would have come of that? As it turns out, that offer never came.
And you ended up in the States.
And here I am.
Someone else who's ended up in the States is here. There's a few of them here in MLS, up in Canada as well. So we're looking for some who are now coaches, others are managers. Your best five, we'll do it 5 back to 1.
You think 5 to 1 is more dramatic?
We'll build the drama. Is that okay?
I'll be honest, I think the top 4 kind of speaks for itself. 5th is the one I had most difficulty with.
Okay.
And I decided to go with Xabi Alonso, coaching, where's it, B?
Sociedad.
Sociedad in second team in League B or whatever it's called. But I think that's a good stepping stone for him. And why I chose Xabi Alonso over the others who won't make this list is just, well, I'll be honest, a little bit of bias. I love Xabi Alonso as a player. Saying that, there are many on this side that I loved as players who aren't on this list. But just given his experiences in England, in Germany, in Spain, I just feel right now the most rounded of the packages.
There's a few goalkeepers in England that he lobbed from distance. Were you one of them?
No.
You're very defensive.
I know the answer, that's all.
Okay. It's probably too early for him, isn't it, to be included?
Yes, without question. I think you have to wait and see. And again, especially as you put him up alongside the others on this list, he doesn't factor because we're still not sure what we're getting.
Okay, top 4.
Top 4. I'm going to go Ryan Giggs, who, I'll be honest, I wasn't quite sure would make a good manager.
Especially an international manager as he's kind of first.
But he's done wonderfully well with Wales, and that has been a surprise to me. To see this Wales team do as well as they have been, to qualify in the manner that they have. Listen, I know that they have that mercurial star in Gareth Bale and how he leads from the front as far as this Welsh team is concerned. That helps a lot. But you can't deny that at the very least they're getting results, and you need a good player and a good manager to do both.
You're not a fan of either of these, right, just now?
Well, Henry, what we saw of him in France was disappointing, is about as best as I can put it. We'll have to wait to see how things work out with Montreal. And similarly, Patrick Vieira, who I thought did very well with NYCFC, but struggling with Nice.
Lampard and Gerrard, I assume, will be part there.
Well, you'll just have to wait to find out.
Who's 3?
Van Bommel.
Ah, okay.
And PSV Eindhoven sitting 3rd in the Eredivisie. And you know, when you're Eindhoven, you expect to be challenging at the top. 3rd may feel a bit disappointing, but I feel that's a fantastic stepping stone. And why I have Van Bommel ahead of Giggs is I feel it's a different ask, being a manager of a club where you're there day to day and the challenges that come with that, a little bit different from internationally. So he gets the nod ahead of Ryan Giggs.
I've been kind of plotting as we go here, and I've ruled out the rest of them to leave these 2. Just wait, hold on, look how eager you're, ready to pounce.
I thought you wanted me to answer.
Derby, decent. Chelsea, decent. Just Rangers, qualified for the group stage of the Europa League for the 2nd year in a row. Hasn't won anything yet, but he's got a League Cup final to come against Celtic. What order you got them in?
I go Steven Gerrard number 2.
Okay, why?
And as much as it's his first job, I think it's a big one.
Yeah.
Certainly in Scottish terms. You know better than most exactly how much that means. You have a Celtic team who've won 8 titles in a row, and Rangers are competitive now at the top of the Scottish Premiership. I also feel that despite, let me see how best I can phrase this, despite Scottish football maybe not having the allure that it once did, certainly that Glasgow rivalry still remains strong.
And he gives Scottish football an allure.
And he does. But in terms of his own managerial progression, I think that cauldron, you have some easier games in Scotland
But
for Rangers.
it didn't help. Sorry, it didn't hinder Brendan Rodgers.
No,
at Celtic. So we're getting
again. Absolutely, yes. I'm just trying to make the point that I think he's in a perfect learning environment for what may come down the road.
Future Liverpool manager. You want to press him?
Current Chelsea manager.
Tell me how surprised you've been by what he's been able to do at Chelsea.
Very. I thought that this was a signing, a managerial signing that was more about the fans and appeasing the fans than it was about really believing that Frank Lampard could take them to the heights that he has. Given everything that came with that Chelsea job at the time, I thought it was going to be a thankless task for Frank Lampard. But I stand here corrected. It's been outstanding to see what he's done with this Chelsea team, the youth that he's brought through, the type of football that he has them playing. I mean, just look at how they competed in the first half against City. Listen, I know they leave there with nothing to show for it, but the football you're seeing from Chelsea is simply outstanding. And I know it's not a great league this time around. A top four finish, I didn't think was a possibility at all to start this season. They've all but got it wrapped up at this point.
They've been excellent. Just because you're a good player doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make a good manager, but these are Shaka's top 5. So he never did beat you from distance, did he? Did he, Gerrard?
None of them did. Well, it depends on what you call distance.
What, about 30 yards in an FA Cup final?
29.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.